Well, hello again, everybody. Wee glimpse of today's ingredients will come around there out of the light. So today we are making beef bourguignon. Now, very exciting dish because it's French, so it's made with love. And of course, you have to have red wine. And the red wine is the Vivanco 2020 Rioja. So that's very nice. And if you're making beef bourguignon, of course, Mark has to have a white wine. And I've got a Chardonnay. So there you go. Now, the ingredients for today are obviously beef. We've got 690 grams of beef. We're going to be putting that with a coating of flour, a little bit of seasoning, and then we'll just lightly fry that off. Should have Worcester sauce, but I've got a little bit of soya, so I'll put that in just for a bit of flavour. We're going to cook in butter. We've got some stock, wee bit of tomato sauce, couple of nice tomatoes, one big onion, some garlic cloves, 3 carrots, bacon, so important for a good beef bourguignon. And we've got some little cocktail onions, they're going to go in there. And we'll be using about half a packet of those nice fresh mushrooms. Right, ideally you want a Dutch oven. We haven't got a Dutch oven, so we're using the stainless steel pot, and we'll be doing our frying in the pan. So, beef bourguignon, that's an amazing, hearty winter French dish. So that's what we're having today. Alright, so I've poured my Chardonnay, and if you remember, I got that €2 bottle last time. This one we splashed out. It's €4, but it's a Chardonnay, and you know what? It's very nice. It's good. Alright, so we've got the frying pan there on at 5 on the induction hob. I've done the onions, the garlic, and 4 strips of bacon just cut through horizontally. And what we've got to do to check that we've got the right temperature, we just put a little bit of cold water in the used beer glass, and you pour that in. Right, so that's too hot. Alright, see how it just steamed straight off? So we're going to go down to 3.5. Okay, so here we are. It's cooled down just a little bit. I've got it now at 3.5. There you go. See, it doesn't instantly boil off. You get little bubbles of water and a bit of water left in the bottom of the pan. So that is pretty good for the bacon to go in. Okie doke. So what we're trying to do here is we're going to want to be cooking it so that we get the browning in the bottom of the pan, like we have been looking at before. Alright, so in goes the bacon first. That's where we get our flavour from. Get all that spread out. Not too hot, remember. Don't want it too hot. Let's use these snips here. I'll break it all up for us. Just wanting to get some flavour going early on. We'll get the fat coming off the bacon as well. We're going to use that. And we're going to cook our onions and our garlic in that as well. Up to 4.5 now in the induction hob. So you're just going to have to experiment with that. You don't want to burn it. Alright, you want to try to see all the fat starting to come out. That's what we want to see. So this dinner, it's going to take a lot longer. Alright, this is, like I say, this is a luxury meal. So you don't just make this in 15 to 20 minutes. This is going to take about 2 hours and even 2.5. And normally you would let it cool off and then just sit it in the fridge for 24 hours and then we'd reheat it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to eat it after the 2 hours, and I suspect, or 2.5 hours, I suspect there'll be enough left over for tomorrow, and then that will be 24 hours old, and we can get a really good evaluation of how good is it compared to what we had today. So there you go. I'm giving you a good view into the pan now. I found a new spot for the camera, but it means I have to kneel down a little bit so that you can have me in the picture. In fact, you're going to have to just move the camera. Here we go. Look at that. Just don't rush this part, because this is where all the flavour starts. Alright, you see we're starting to get a little bit of browning off there. Don't worry about it sticking to the bottom of the pan, because we will not get rid of, sorry. We'll use it later. We'll get that off. Alright, here we go. It's starting to look good. We're going to keep adding to this too. We'll take the bacon bits out. Once we've got them a little bit golden, and then we'll be cooking the onions till they're translucent, and the garlic until it's soft. And we put the bacon back in later. So it's 690 grams of beef, and the beef, it can be chuck steak, it doesn't matter, because it's going to cook long enough to be lovely and tender, and I'll show you how we check that later. The mushrooms, you put as many of those in to taste. The carrots, we've got 3 there, and we're going to cube those and put them in nice and chunky. Like I said, a full onion, 2 tomatoes, about 5 cloves of garlic, and the bacon was 4 to 5 strips. Here we go, look, starting to happen. Look at that lovely juice in there, that fat coming out of the bacon. That is flavour in our beef bourguignon. Yum, yum. Okay, the Roya, red wine is breathing, very important. Lovely, look at that. Oh, wish you could smell it, but you can't. I can though. Can you smell it, Gary?
Yes, it's starting to come along.
Is it? You can smell it. Cool.
Just getting that swallowed with.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, we're just going to let that cook away a little bit there, and we'll come back. Okay, so there you go. Look at that. You can see that now. There's oil all in the bottom coming off the bacon, and the bacon is relatively crisp. So that is perfect. Take the bacon out. It's definitely going back into the beef bourguignon. Too much flavour in that to waste. We'll let the little bit of fat that's in there accumulate in the bottom. Then we are going to add the onion. Look, a little bit of garlic snuck in there. Not going to put it in together, we're going to do it separately. So that's cooking in the bacon fat. Again, we want to just add to the browning in the bottom of the pan. Now there's the perfect temperature. Look, you can just see there's little globules rather than all steam coming off. Don't want to overcook anything. The French is all about long and slow. Here we go, look. Here you go, there's that bacon fat all coming through into the onion. We're just going to cook it until it goes translucent. So everybody says translucent, but it's difficult to describe. What it is there's a sheen all over it, and you just feel like you can almost start seeing through it. You can't see through it, of course, but it's just got that appearance about it. So you go too far and you start getting the not burnt but brown edges around it. So here we go. Just translucent, that's all we're looking for. A little bit of moisture comes out of it as well, and with that, look, see, we get all the brown off the bottom. We want all that. That is just so much flavour. It's cooling down a little bit. I'll just turn that back up to 5. 5's a great heat on an induction hob. I reckon that's about halfway on gas, and I'm not sure what it would be on electric. Just on a normal element, there's not that many of them now, but on gas, probably about halfway. You know what gas is like, it's so instant, you just got to keep an eye on it. There we go, let's just spread that out. They're not translucent yet. A good little trick is when you're frying stuff, if you just feel like it's getting a little bit dry, and this isn't, it's on the edge, but it's not. You can just add a tinsy bit of water, there's no harm in that. Just a wee bit, just to keep the moisture in there. That's coming on well. Right, there you go. Okay, so that's the onion kind of translucent, and what we're going to do is just put that onion in our Dutch oven over here, or the equivalent thereof for us. There we go. Just lift that up. It's all nice and just good. Lovely bit of flavour coming off it. Then we're going to very quickly do the same with the garlic. We don't want to burn the garlic because garlic makes it, I don't know, it just ruins it if you put too much heat into garlic. So there we go. That's the first bit in the Dutch oven of our beef bourguignon. And here we go with the garlic. Yeah, anytime the pan gets just a little bit dry, like I say, you can just add a wincy bit of water. We don't want to put too much oil in, because if you put too much oil or butter in on the top of your beef bourguignon, it just comes all out as fat on the top. So we'll just get that going a little bit. Okay, I'm just trying out different little cooking positions, different little cooking positions. I'm just trying out different little filming positions just to see if I can get the best shot for you. All that brown's still there, look. So that just gets a little bit of, doesn't need a lot, the garlic. Doesn't need a lot of oil on it. It just picks up that brown off the bottom of the pan. And we'll give it about 5 or 7 minutes just to get some heat into it. You maybe could have done just a smidgen more garlic. Depends how strong a flavour you like it in your cooking from garlic. I almost can't get enough of it, so within reason. Anyway, there you go. Garlic's starting to just jump around a little bit. Right, we'll just leave that for about 4 or 5 minutes. Right, so we can't do button mushrooms without just a little bit of butter. It just doesn't work. But we don't need a lot. It's just, there we go, look at that. See, there's the garlic going. Alright, that's actually okay. Right, that's the garlic. Pretty much done. We'll put that in the Dutch oven too. Okay, so first thing we want to do is flour the beef. Easiest way to do that is drain off the juices and then put a bit of flour over the beef. And then frankly, the best way to mix up, it's pretty simple. You take the breadboard or cutting board, you stick it over the packet, you hold it like that, and you shake it. And that, honestly, is probably the easiest way. You can go upside down, look, like that. Breadboard, straight over the packet, and it all gets floured up nicely. Pretty simple. We've floured the beef, so in the beef goes. Right, now the beef, we don't want to overcook it. Really important. You're just going to try and brown off either side a little bit. Spread that out, just starting to sizzle a tiny bit. Just basically want to seal it. Give it a wee browning on either side. Probably 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, we'll just turn the temperature up a little bit, go up to 6. Okay, there's probably enough beef here, and in fact this helping is probably good enough for 4 people. So for Gary and I, we're just going to have it for dinner tonight, and then either dinner tomorrow night or lunch. I suspect dinner tomorrow night. And that's 2 meals, which is the perfect way to cook, really. Right, just to hear the beef starting to sizzle. We'll put the onions in there. I did 7 button mushrooms, and generally speaking, small ones just cut in half, bigger ones cut into quarters, and then the stems generally into thirds. And we don't need a lot of butter at all in there. Just trying to get it going. Turn that up to 4. Not going to take a lot for the mushrooms to get going. All we're trying to do, get a bit of that flavour coming out, get them going, get the juices going. Yep, they're starting to get a little bit of browning there. That's alright. Bit of juice coming out of the beef. A little bit sticky there, silly Mark. Didn't put enough flour on. Probably didn't dry the beef off enough. Once we've got a little bit brown, it won't be long, and we'll be able to just start flicking the pan around, and that'll get the beef all moving, and you won't have to individually turn the cubes over. Remember, this is luxury food, guys, so when you're cooking this for the better half, or the other half, sorry, when you're cooking this, it's an afternoon's job. This isn't going to be your 10-15 minute job. This is a bit of prep, get it underway, and then you pour your darling a lovely glass of wine while it's just simmering away for a few hours, or you do it on a day when the other half is not there, significant other half is not there, and then you just warm it up for dinner the next day. And how cool would that be? Pour a glass of wine and a beautiful, heartwarming beef bourguignon. Notice nothing's happening quickly, alright? It's all being done at a reasonably slow and even temperature. We don't want to burn anything. You get that burn taste in the food otherwise. This is comfort food. It takes time. Righto. Alright, that's everything turned over. Yum yum. My mouth's watering. Kind of hope yours is too, but give these mushrooms a bit of a flick over. Doesn't need a lot. Doesn't need a lot. Okay, there's the mushrooms. A little bit of salt in the mushrooms. Let's get them sweating a bit. Tiny bit of pepper. Not too much. We'll get some pepper into the Dutch oven at some stage. Right, there we go. Yep, a couple of bits of beef I missed. Yeah, a little bit of moisture starting to come out now. That's cool, as it seals. Alright, so there we go. There's the beef ready. We can add that into the Dutch oven soon. Now see that coating on the bottom there? We're going to lift that off with the 2 to 3 cups of red wine that we put in. And that is really going to be tasty. The mushrooms are ready, so we've turned the heat off on those. We just want them nice and firm still, and they're going to go in after the Dutch oven's been going for at least an hour, so they only get about an hour and a bit in with the rest of the meal. Once we get the beef in the Dutch oven, then we're just going to give the carrots a quick flicking over in the pan as well. Okay, in the carrots go. Chunky. Beef bourguignon's nice to have chunky. Got chunky meat, chunky carrots, chunky mushrooms. Right, there's a little bit of coating over the carrots. Scraped all the nice lovely brown off the bottom of the pan, all that flavour. Get all that out there. It can all soak in with the main ingredients. Here we go. Put that in there. Sorry about the lack of light. We haven't exactly got it set up for filming here yet, but still. Look at that. Look at all that goodness going in there. Oh. Most important part of the dish. We want about 3 cups to 3 cups of red wine. Get all that flavour off there. I can smell that. That smells great. 3 cups is probably half a bottle of red wine. There you go. We haven't got half a bottle yet, but we will have in the end. Alright, so finished with the saucepan. I'm going to put this pot on the centre induction hob so you can see a little bit better. So there it is. Put the last of the wine in. There we go. That's about it. That's good. That's about as much. That's about the fluid we want. All right. So that's looking good there. I put a little bit of stock in, probably half a cup, and going to put a little squeeze of tomato sauce, a few splashes of soy sauce, sprinkling of brown sugar, and then we're going to put these little cocktail onions in. Now I would like about 3 times as many as that, but I didn't have them, so we're stuck with that. And then finally, well, not quite finally, the bacon goes in. There we go, there's all the ingredients, the meats in there. Just turn that over nicely. And then we're going to simmer it for about 2.5 hours. We'll check it every now and then, and what we do with the beef, I'll show you when I do it, but we want to just take a piece out. We don't want it falling apart. You want to be able to just pull it gently apart with a fork. And then in about 1.25 hours time, thereabouts, we'll put the mushrooms in. We'll just let that simmer away. Decided not to put the tomatoes in. A little bit of tomato paste, but not the tomatoes. I'm going to do a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and we'll keep it a bit more traditional by not putting the tomatoes in. Okay, so there it is, bubbling away, a little bit too much. So I've just turned it down to 2.5. And we'll put the lid back on. Ideally, you really want to do this in the oven. But on the boat, sometimes you have to do compromises, and it's just a little bit easier to do it on the stovetop. Alright, mushrooms go in after 1.25 hours.
What happens when Dan doesn't show up?
Just gently put them in on the top there. Make sure everything's under the fluid. Look at that. Beautiful little juice. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Right. Lid back on, and we're just going to go down to 1. This is ridiculous. It's on 1.5, and it's still bubbling away. So I'm just turning it down to 1. We'll see how it goes. Another 1.25 hours. Dinner time. Well, the consensus is beef bourguignon is a success. That is so yummy. Heartwarming food. You got to try it, guys. Got to try it. Heaps of brownie points. Believe me. Enjoy. There it is. Beef bourguignon. What's it like, Gaz? Yeah, it's good. Is it? Yeah. Look at that. Absolutely magic. Bit of work, but beautiful. No curry.